I need to leave my boyfriend's house that I just moved into a couple of days ago. Any advice? Here's the email that I sent my therapist this morning, excluding names. I think I need to go back home. My boyfriend got upset with me last night about ridiculous things. Not ridiculous, but his reaction to them was way out of proportion, and then called me a see you next Tuesday and pathetic, and insulted me and my family, and pushed me more than once because he wanted me out of his bed. He grabbed me by my shoulder and face and squeezed me hard because he didn't like something I said. I didn't leave then because I wouldn't have been able to take anything with me, and I think he would destroy my things if I leave them based off how mad he was. I feel like I have to walk on eggshells and have to be careful with what I say, especially when he's upset with me, because according to him, it's not the right answer or reason. He told me that if I keep it up, we won't make it 2 more weeks. He even told me that I should just pack my car and leave tomorrow, which is today. This weekend, coming down was so stressful, and it was all because of him, yet he says I caused it all. I've given him the benefit of the doubt so many times when he gets upset, but I think I need to leave today. He's left for work a few minutes ago. I don't have enough room to take all of my stuff, and if I leave, especially while he's at work, which seems like the only option, because I'm afraid of what he'll do. What I have is what I actually want because I got rid of everything else. I'm going to ask my brother to come down to help me, but his car might not make it. I'm going to ask my friend too if she'd be able to come if my brother can't. I asked her to call me when she wakes up. My brother won't be up until around 9 a.m, probably too. His mum's going to be home all day too, so I don't know how to handle her. I'm afraid she's going to tell him and he'll be mad, but most likely wouldn't be able to leave the work, which is over an hour away, but I feel like I'll need to leave fast once I start. I just need you to know this. I have to cancel my exam for this afternoon, and from what it looks like, I may be penalized for canceling so late. My head's going in circles, and I now feel like I've been making so many wrong choices leading up to this point. I should have never brought my stuff down here when he threatened the private investigator stuff. I feel so torn, because when everything is good, but when it's bad, it's bad. In the comments, Fat Sad Happy says, "He ran by your shoulder and squeezed your face? Run! He's already physically abusive. Run now!" He thinks he owns her now that she moved in. This was his opportunity to berate and harm her. Ready Satisfaction says, "Alright, take a breath. You're doing the right thing and moving out. I would say call your brother and friend. Don't worry about the time that they normally wake up. If they love you, they will want to hear you and help you. Are you financially stable? If so, then you can call a moving truck or men with a van. Are you moving back in with your parents? Have you called them? The most important thing is you getting out. But I understand you don't want to lose any of your stuff. Pack your more important stuff into your car now while you wait to hear back from people who can help or call a mover. Stay strong and determined." OP says, "I would be moving back into my parents. My mum already said when I left that I'd always be able to come back home if I needed to. I just finished school a few weeks ago and I pretty much don't have any money. What did she say about him physically abusing you?" OP says, "My mum hasn't responded to me yet. I just reached out this morning at 5 a.m. I needed to wait until he left for work." Well, while you're waiting, gather up your driver's license, birth certificate, and any other identity-related documents or records like income tax returns. Update: my dad's coming to help me right now. He's about 2 hours away. His mum saw me loading 2 boxes in my car. She asked me what I was doing, and I just said bringing some things I don't need back to my mum's house. She said something, but I didn't hear it. She's kind of out of it most of the time, so I'm hoping she's not going to think into it too much. I have my boyfriend's location, so I'll know if he's going to come back. I bet he would call me if he had any thought that I was going to leave. Another update: he just texted me saying that I'm perfect and that he loves me, and that he wants to talk to me before my test today. The rest of the message is cut off and I'm not going to open it because I have read receipts on for him, and I want him to just think I'm asleep still. Update later today. I am home now. I cried the whole 2.5-hour drive home. My dad came to help me and I was able to get all my things. His mum made it into a bigger ordeal than it needed to be. I can go into more detail later. I am physically, emotionally, and mentally exhausted. Thank you, everyone. I already had my mind made up in leaving, but having so much support from strangers on the internet made me feel even more confident. Rough one, honestly, and I back those comments, as I do every time. If you're escaping an abuser, you take everything that is near and dear to you and your identity and get out of there as quickly and as safely as you can, with as much support in your community as you can. I can't imagine how bad OP felt seeing his mum just coming in and sticky beaking like that. Just knowing that she's going to report to him and be like, oh, I see your girlfriend doing something. You might want to come check in on her. Like, thanks for that. Love it when you enable the abuser. That's really cool of you to do that, Mom. You're a top person. That's me assuming things, but more than likely, she's complicit in this situation. And now, onto the update. So it's been about 7 weeks since I left. I'm going to give the abridged version because the next 2 weeks after were a lot. I was able to take everything thanks to my dad driving 3 hours down to help me. It was really hard to officially be done. He contacted me multiple times, of course, and tried to make it better. Blamed everything on alcohol. What made everything even more complicated was that I found out I was pregnant. Even though it was a horrible timing, I was so excited. I'm at a point in my life that I am so ready to have kids. He was the dad, so I felt like he needed to know and be a part of it. He was the dad, so I felt like he needed to know and be a part of it. He was excited and surprisingly supportive and respected any boundaries I put up at first. My mum was supportive. My brother cried because I was still staying in contact with my ex, and he said he knew he was going to do something bad to me and would wake up in the middle of the night with a bad feeling thinking of me. My ex wanted to act like everything was back to normal. He was upset that I had to tell people what he did to me because now we could just be together, which is absolutely crazy. He even said that he wanted to come up that weekend. I wasn't ready to see him and shut that down pretty fast. It was never going to be whether we got back together or raised a child separately or anything. I ended up having a miscarriage and was devastated. Like my world literally fell apart. I spent 2 days in bed just crying. My ex would literally call me selfish for how I was responding to it and how upset I was. We stayed in contact for 2 days after I miscarried, and on the last day we talked, I'd gone to the mall with a friend just to get out of the house. I was bleeding a lot, so I was wearing a thick pad and felt like I was in a diaper. What I'm getting at is that I felt gross and uncomfortable. I had a big jacket on and baggy pants. I had told my ex after that I'd gone to the mall, and knowing how I was feeling, he asked me if I dressed like that if I was still someone's girlfriend. He used to say that I dressed like a slut, which I definitely didn't in any way, and who cares if I did. He said he was going to come up that weekend now, and in that moment, I felt like I didn't even have a choice. We talked a bit more, and then he ended up getting upset with me about something stupid and hung up on me, and I called back saying I was done, and that was it. I blocked him on literally everything from Facebook to Pinterest to his work number. Honestly, everything's amazing now. My friends have been amazing, my family's been amazing, and it's so nice to be able to tell people what he did to me our whole relationship. I have a friend who was in an abusive relationship, and I see her in a totally different light. I got my dental hygiene license and started working a few weeks ago, and it's been great. I do feel for my ex because he was the most hurt, insecure man that I ever knew, but that gives no excuse for how he treated me. I just wished he would learn from this experience, and I know he won't. But that's not my problem. I'm stronger than I ever knew, and I'm so excited for what comes next. Thank you everyone for your support. In the comments, Birdseye says, having read your original post and this, I reckon you've had a really lucky escape. I'm sorry you've had to go through a miscarriage, but that's probably saved you from a life trapped in hell for you and a child. OP replies, I really did. It would 100% have escalated if the relationship continued because it was already building. I've come to terms with the miscarriage. Still incredibly sad about it, but my baby's life ending saved me and my future children for sure. I think you need to forgive your dad for suggesting an abortion. He didn't want you tied to that man forever or for that man to have the opportunity to abuse a child. You may not have liked the suggestion, but it came from a place of love. It's always sad when someone loses a baby, but I always feel like someone stepped in these situations to keep these women safe and not attached to these terrible men for the rest of their lives. I do hope OP gets therapy though, because she just seemed to keep coming back for more even after she ran away in terror of this man. OP says, "In therapy already. I found out I was pregnant 2 days after I left him and miscarried a week or so after that. It's been 5.5 weeks since I miscarried and last spoke to him." I'm in agreement with the comments once again. It is an incredibly sad situation, but I do think it saved her from a fate of being tied to an abuser like that. And to me, reading that update, it kind of seemed like she was getting ready to get back with him in a sense, and kind of just ignoring and brushing over all of the abuse that she suffered with this man because he was excited to have a child with her. That just, I don't know. I see so many situations like this and I go, why? Why are you so happy to get back with your abuser? Did nothing in that first post ever happen? Is that all forgiven now that a child is on the way? And also look how quickly he just disappeared from her life as soon as the miscarriage happened. He didn't even try to get her to come back and have another child so he can lock her down. He didn't care at all. I don't know what his motivations there were. Just a very weird update, all in all. I'm glad that OP is free of him and is now independent and able to live her life without a connection to him. So, thank you for the story, OP, and thank you for the update. Glad to know that you're safe and doing well. Our next post is by user ThrowRA and it's titled, "Am I the arsehole here for not wanting to buy a house 3 hours away from my workplace? I don't know how to start this. I, 27 female, have been with my fiancé, 28 male, for 5 years. We've just recently saved enough for a deposit on a house, and he's found this cottage in the middle of nowhere, 2 hours away from where we currently live. The thing is, I already work an hour away. I'm a nursery practitioner, and I love my workplace. I've been there since I was 20, and I've worked my way up to a room lead position. Living 3 hours away from my job would not be ideal, but my fiancé won't budge on this house. He says it's perfect, within our budget, and quirky enough to fit our tastes in home style. I've tried to communicate with him about this issue multiple times, bringing up the fact that there's not even any nurseries in that area that are looking for staff, and I don't want to find another job that's a bit further out, but start from the bottom again. He says it'll all work out if I just stop overthinking it, and I've been at my current job for so long that it would be nice for me to start out fresh. Another issue is that I want children. They've always been a huge deal breaker for me, and I don't think it'd be such a good idea to live so remotely when it comes to children, as we'll have to get them to and from school or nursery before and after work every day. The nearest school/nursery is a 30-minute drive away from the house he wants, and we both start work fairly early and finish quite late. It'll also be an issue of their freedom as they grow up, because I think it'd be horrible to have to rely on your parents for transportation all the time and have to skip out on plans if they can't drive you. He really thinks I'm being dramatic about this, and I'll just figure it out. So am I the asshole here for not wanting to move away from my job and basically all civilization? In the comments, not the asshole. You two are not on the same page. You need to sort that out before you get married. OP says, I'm desperately trying to sort it out. I'm considering telling him that I will end the engagement if he continues to be unreasonable and doesn't consider my feelings on the matter. If he will not let you have a say about where you live and thinks he gets to make the decision, that's not a partnership. The 50's called and they want your fiancé back. Purchasing a home is a 2 yes or it's a no decision. If he doesn't think that you're intelligent enough to know what you want in a home and where, you need to end the engagement, take half the money saved for the home, and put it aside for when you have a partner who respects and loves you enough to want your opinion and want you to be happy. Not just give in to his wants. Not the asshole. Politely refuse to buy a house 3 hours away from your work. You can't stop your fiancé from buying this house, but you can refuse to put your name and money into the purchase. I had a 1.5 hour drive. So stressful, I stayed with a relative who lived closer. My house deteriorated, and now I've retired, I have several years of catch-up to do. A 30-minute drive is an ideal maximum. I really think the answer is so incredibly simple in this one. Obviously, it's a complex situation where you're trying to navigate the relationship that you have with this person, but it just grinds my gears so incredibly hard when people keep throwing out that bullshit of just stop overthinking things. You're making it complicated. Don't worry, we'll do it and then you'll figure it out afterwards. No. I'm trying to figure it out now because in my head, the math ain't mathing. You're just trying to get me to sign a contract without reading the terms and conditions. I'm looking at you, everyone that signed a contract without reading the terms and conditions. For shame. But yeah, I faced a lot of those talking points throughout my early life. It's just, oh, you don't understand. You'll get it when you're older. Just do it right now. And back then, as it would be now, those decisions I was forced into were against my better judgment. My instinct said, this is a bad idea. And they still happened regardless because the other person wanted something that triumphed my own needs. And that is what is going to happen to OP in this situation if she doesn't lay down an ultimatum. He can't have the house. It's not going to happen. 3 hours is fucking ridiculous. If I had a partner like that wouldn't give up this stupid, nonsensical idea, I would give them that ultimatum and I'd end the engagement if it went that far, if they didn't let down. This is ridiculous. No, you're not an asshole for wanting to buy the house, OP. Listen to your instincts and listen to the community. And now, onto the update. So I wasn't expecting to be able to update this fast, but here we are. First off, I want to thank everyone that commented on my last post, and also add some context as I realized my last post may have been lacking some. Fiancé and I have been together for 5 years, but I've known him for 12 years. And in all the time I've known him, and especially since we got together, he's always been sweet, taken my feelings into consideration, and hasn't actively ignored my opinion like this. It's always been a 2 yes, 1 no situation in decisions before this. We had a good relationship otherwise. We had date nights once a fortnight, we enjoyed each other's company, had aligning plans for the future, and the same ideals for a relationship. He'd watched me go through a few quite bad relationships over the years before we got together and did his best to be the opposite of my exes. Though he's always been quite pushy when it comes to sexual intimacy, so I guess that's an issue. But other than that, it was great, and we had actually had a lot of talks about what we wanted in a house. We had agreed that we wanted a house or cottage either the same distance away or closer to my work, a bit more remote, but still with a town or city easily accessible by public transport and car. I'm not sure why he suddenly switched to wanting a house so far out from everything and everyone that we both know. We live in the UK, and a 2-hour drive can have you basically in a whole other world. Anyway, the actual update. I had annual leave from work yesterday, and my now ex-fiancé was having a work-from-home day, something he's been doing more and more frequently as of late. This is another reason why he's so okay with the house he wants being where it is, because he can just switch to full-time work from home. In the morning, I sat down with him and tried to bring up the house. I laid out my points from my last post yet again and told him that under no circumstances am I leaving my job. I love it, and I do not want to search for another. I brought up the countless other houses that could fit our criteria that are in our area and closer to my work, some of which we've viewed. We haven't viewed the place that he wants yet, as we haven't had the time, and I told him I don't want to, as I already know it's not what I want. I also asked him if he really thinks it'd be okay for me to have a 6-hour round commute every day, especially considering my shift starts at 8 a.m, so I would have to leave by 5 a.m. every morning and be up at around 4 a.m. My shifts typically finish at 5:30 p.m, so I wouldn't even be back home until 8:30 p.m. Would he be okay with doing all the childcare in the future, housework, and just everything that needed to be done because I wouldn't be home for any of it? He didn't seem to take any of it to heart, and still insisted that I could find another job, maybe one not even in childcare, and that's what finally pushed me over the edge. Childcare has been my dream since I was a little girl, and I managed to find an absolute dream of a workplace that I know many childcare practitioners would kill to work for. How could I possibly leave that all behind when I've worked so hard for it? He told me he is set on this house, so either I accept it or I leave. I chose leave. I gave his ring back and told him that we're done, that he's not being the sweet, considerate man that I fell in love with, and I don't know why he can't see my side of things in this. I don't want to live a life with somebody that doesn't consider how I feel in all of this. This completely shocked him, and he started begging me to rethink, that we can figure something out. But I refused and went to pack my things. I'm staying with my brother and his wife now, which is nice because they live closer to my workplace, a 30-minute drive instead of an hour, and I get to spend time with my little nieces. I'm hurting, but I also feel like a huge weight has been lifted off my shoulders. I do not deserve to not have my opinion valued, and he certainly did not. I guess it's onwards and upwards, as they say, but I definitely won't be dating for a long time after this. In the comments, he didn't even give up. Quote, "We can figure something out," means his option is still on the table. He just wants to keep debating even after you dumped him. Man, he really wants that house. I'm betting he can't afford it without her though. And/or she does a lot of work around the house, and with her gone, he's gonna have to start cooking and cleaning again. With a daily 6-hour round trip, OP wouldn't have had time to do the cooking and cleaning. Oh damn. He thought he could strong-arm you into agreeing with him. He thought you would relent because you were engaged and you'd never walk away. And then you called his bluff, and he realized he didn't hold the control over you that he thought. Good on you for calling his bluff and being rid of him. He would have 100% used that tactic again and again if you had stayed with him. You mentioned that the two of you had saved up enough for a down payment. If the money's in a joint account, add up how much you contributed plus interest on the amount and withdraw it fast. For me here, all things considered, this was a pretty chill breakup, was it not? There wasn't too many dramatics, and he seems to still think that they're gonna get back together. I mean, of course, he started begging OP to rethink, saying that they can figure something out, but she refused and went to pack her things. I guess maybe OP didn't want to talk about how the breakup went after the fact, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. I do love a little bit of drama, but if you don't want to be dragging his full reaction to the breakup so suddenly into the end of the story, I respect that. These are the consequences of his actions. He needs to own up to them. He needs to accept that he's not going to get his way. And things have, in fact, figured themselves out, like he said. He gets the house he wants. He just doesn't get the wife that he wants along with it. And that's just how the cookie crumbles. I wish nothing but the best of luck to the both of you. Thank you for the story, and thank you for the update, OP. Anyway guys, that's where I'm going to end today's episode. I do hope you enjoyed. If you did, let me know what you thought of it in the comments down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.